March 27th, 1977. Two Boeing 747s. 583 souls aboard. In just over 30 minutes, aviation would witness its darkest hour, a collision so catastrophic it would rewrite history. Los Rodeos Airport, Tenerife. A small Canary Islands airfield never designed for giants like these. KLM Flight 4805. Captain Jacob Van Zanten at the controls. 248 passengers and crew. Pan Am Flight 1736. Captain Victor Grubbs commanding. 335 souls trusting his judgment. Both jumbos packed with fuel for intercontinental journeys. Flying bombs waiting for a spark. Neither flight was supposed to be here. Both diverted by circumstances beyond their control. The afternoon sun begins its descent. Dense fog rolls in from the Atlantic like a suffocating blanket. Visibility drops to mere meters. The control tower loses sight of the runway entirely. Two massive aircraft, one narrow runway, zero visibility. The stage is set for disaster. Passengers settle into their seats, unaware they're about to become part of aviation's most tragic statistic. The clock ticks toward 5 p.m. Two pilots prepare for takeoff in a white void of death. What happens next will expose fatal flaws in aviation communication that persist to this day. If you're finding value in this, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. 27 miles away from the chaos that would unfold, another airport was already burning. Gran Canaria Airport, the intended destination. A terrorist bomb had just exploded in the terminal building. The blast forced an immediate shutdown. Every incoming aircraft was diverted to the tiny backup airport. Los Rodeos wasn't built for this. The small Canary Islands airport was about to become a parking lot for jumbo jets. Among the stranded passengers was KLM Captain Jacob Van Zanten, the airline's golden boy, their chief flight instructor. Van Zanten's face adorned KLM's safety brochures. He was the poster child for Dutch aviation excellence. But excellence breeds impatience. And Van Zanten was growing restless with every passing hour. Meanwhile, the Pan Am crew found themselves navigating an airport they'd never seen before. The taxi routes were different. The procedures were foreign. Everything about Los Rodeos was wrong. Hours dragged by. The weather deteriorated. Thick Atlantic fog began creeping across the runway. Radio frequencies became a battlefield. Multiple crews competed for the same communication channels. Transmissions overlapped. Critical instructions were lost in static. The communication system was breaking down. What started as a simple terrorist attack at one airport was about to trigger aviation's darkest hour at another. 5:06 p.m. Through the dense fog of Tenerife Airport, KLM Captain Jacob Van Zanten makes a decision that will echo through aviation history forever. Without clear authorization from air traffic control, Van Zanten pushes the throttles forward. The massive Boeing 747 begins its takeoff roll. But there's a problem. A deadly problem. Pan Am Flight 1806 is still on the runway, desperately trying to reach the taxiway. Pan Am Captain Victor Grubbs sees something that makes his blood run cold. Landing lights piercing through the fog, growing brighter by the second. The Pan Am crew frantically tries to clear the runway. Full power, hard left turn, fighting against time and physics itself. In the KLM cockpit, First Officer Klaus Meurs suddenly realizes the horrifying truth. His voice cuts through the tension. Quote, "Is he not clear, that Pan American?" End quote, but it's already too late. Captain Van Zanten pulls back desperately on the controls. The KLM jumbo jet struggles to lift off, clawing for altitude it will never reach. 396,000 pounds of aircraft cannot escape the laws of physics. The collision is inevitable. The impact is catastrophic. The sound echoes across the airport like thunder. But when the metal settled and the flames subsided, the counting began. KLM Flight 4805 became a crematorium. All 248 souls aboard perished instantly in the fireball. Among them was Captain Jacob Van Zanten, the airline's poster boy, the safety instructor. Now just ash on a foreign runway. The Pan Am Jumbo told a different story. 61 passengers and crew crawled from the wreckage alive. But 335 others weren't so fortunate. Fire and toxic smoke claimed them before rescue arrived. The investigation that followed would prove as contentious as the crash itself. At the heart of it all, 4 words that sealed 583 fates. "We are now at takeoff." Van Zanten meant it as a position report. Air traffic control heard it as confirmation they were taking off. A deadly mistranslation in the universal language of aviation, English. But when the Dutch inquiry concluded, Van Zanten wasn't the villain of their story. Instead, they blamed air traffic control, the weather, the extraordinary circumstances, anything but their national hero, the man whose face had sold safety for KLM. 583 people died, and still the aviation industry protected its own. 583 lives. That was the price aviation paid for its most expensive lesson. The reforms came swiftly. New phraseology rules emerged from the wreckage of Tenerife. Never again would pilots casually use the word takeoff in radio communications. Only during actual departure. Ground radar systems became mandatory at major airports. No more flying blind in the fog. Ground proximity warning systems were upgraded. Technology would catch what human eyes missed. The procedures changed. The technology improved. But the human element? That remained dangerously unchanged. Communication breakdowns still plague aviation. The same psychological traps that killed 583 people: assumption, miscommunication, authority bias. These invisible killers adapted to new technology. Every few years, another accident. Different airport, different airline, same fundamental human failures. We built better radars but couldn't rewire the human brain. We changed words, but not the way people think. Tenerife taught us that humans will always find new ways to fail, no matter how advanced our systems become. The deadliest day in aviation history bought us procedures and protocols, but it couldn't buy us perfection. 583 people died so that millions could fly safer, but never completely safe. Because in the end, aviation's greatest enemy isn't mechanical failure or weather. It's us. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe for more.